For the long-suffering commuters of Sydney's northwest, it's the last thing they want to hear. The rail link they've been waiting years for will reportedly cost far more than the $8 billion forecast. The federal government's infrastructure advisory body says the state government hasn't done its homework. It says the Northwest Rail Link will need a second harbour crossing to be built at a cost of tens of billions of dollars.
For commuters from northwestern Sydney to Wynyard this morning, it was a long bus trip.
Currently it's about an hour and a half to get in, or an hour 15 minutes, and it'll be a lot faster if you get on the train.
On some days it can take up to 1.5 to 2 hours depending on the traffic on the M2.
The state government wants to build a rail link to the Hills District with an estimated cost of $8.5 billion. Infrastructure Australia, the independent body which advises the federal government, says that project is flawed.
There's simply not enough homework done.
And the former RailCorp executive says he's particularly concerned about the cost.
It's a very, very expensive underground railway line that will require a second harbour crossing. And that's talking tens of billions of dollars.
Currently, there's only room to add an extra 2 train services an hour between Chatswood and the city. Infrastructure Australia says the better solution is more buses and finding new ways of linking Parramatta to the CBD. But that's angered the Premier.
It's absolutely ridiculous today for the federal government to be arguing that instead of building the Northwest Rail Link, there ought to be more buses.
The Transport Minister says Infrastructure Australia is in the pocket of the federal government and is just finding ways to meet promises the government has already made to Western Sydney.
Clearly, the New South Wales government made a very detailed submission to the federal government about what our transport priorities were. The response we got back was pretty insulting.
The Northwest Rail Link was one of Barry O'Farrell's key election commitments. But if Infrastructure Australia doesn't sign off on the expensive project, the state government will be forced to build it on its own. Eliza Blue, ABC News.